I'ma help the people close to me. They help the people close to them and then.
Welcome to the Unguarded podcast. Come and chop it up with me and the Wevolve crew. First of all, how do I pronounce your last name? Because I don't want to butcher it.
Drewniok.
Oof.
Try.
Drewniok.
Drewniok. Kimberly D. It's fine.
Kimberly D. Yeah. Kimberly D in the building on the Unguarded podcast. How you doing today? Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm preparing for the American League right now. So I'm trying to hustle every day to be fit when I arrive in the States. So I had already one practice and now I'm looking forward to our set.
Nice. So you working out with your trainer or are you working out with a team locally until you leave?
With a trainer right now because my focus is to be physically fit. As wiser we get, as more we know how important it is, right? to take your body healthy. So my main focus is on that. And then I try to get some touches with local clubs over here.
Okay. Got you. So you from where in Germany again?
On the west part. It's close to Cologne. That's the biggest city. I'm from a really small village. Nobody will know it. So I most likely say Cologne, even though it's still 1.5 hours away.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw on your IG. So is it like a farmland? Like you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a country girl.
Dope. That's dope. All right. So yeah, you're a country girl.
Yeah. Touring through the world with volleyball.
Okay. So we'll have to touch upon that. But I see this summer you've been moving a little bit. You've been busy.
Yeah.
So what's currently going on with you? Okay, volleyball, one thing. We'll touch upon the American League you're going to get to go to and experience that. But what has summer been like for you? What other things are you involved in?
So this summer was a little bit different than my past summers because I decided to quit national team and open a new chapter in my life. Has also a lot of reasons, but one of them was that I feel like a shift in my life that I want to focus more on things aside from volleyball as well to build something for my future. And I'm a big family person. I miss out on all this. I mean, everybody knows who plays professional sports. We miss out on so many things from the family life. And so I just realized that I want to be more part of the now of my family life and don't postpone it to later and later, especially now that in my friend circle, some friends friends of my friends passed away, and this is like a wake-up call again. Like we live now and we should pursue what we love the most in this moment. So yeah, this summer was about me being with my family and building something next to volleyball. And one big part was joining charity organization. I actually did this last year, but this year was the first big tour that we did together in the Philippines. And It's all about bringing access to volleyball underprivileged areas. And this year was Philippines, and we had a big group of different people from different countries, and we were all connected to this one mission, this one vision to spread joy of volleyball all over the world. And we went to different communities that don't really have the same access like we have, and just bringing them something, if it's like material but also knowledge or experience. And it was just awesome to be part of something bigger, because I'm so beyond grateful for everything that volleyball brought me into my life. As I said, I'm a village girl from a farm, and I love my home, and I grew up with only my mom. She did an amazing job in raising me in her own bubble, so I'm beyond grateful for that. But volleyball gave me the possibility to travel the world, to discover new cultures, connect with different people all over the world, and that helped me so much to grow into the person I am today. So I know how strong a sport community can be. So I want to give this chance to other kids in this world. And if we can just connect with one girl or one boy in the Philippines that say, I have the big dream to pursue this and chase this, and I can do it. If there's a person, sometimes there's just one person who says like, you can do it. And then they're like,
goes from there.
Damn, right? Like it's for us, sometimes it's such a small thing, but for other people and the children, it's maybe something huge. Like the feedback we got, just being present. One time I had a talk with one of our team members, and I said, I feel like I want to give more, because on the last day we didn't had so much gear anymore to give away, and it was just like a open practice or game day. And I felt like, I just want to give more. But then at the end of the day, they said, like, we were so grateful that you're here. Just being present, it was enough. So there was a big lesson for me as well. And I'm so grateful that I had the courage to stop playing with the national team, because also this was a big step. And I'm 27 now, so people didn't understand why I would quit now, because I could still play many more years. But sometimes you have to go against the grain to pursue what you want for your life. So this was one big part of the summer. And then the other part is just being with family. I have a little sister, she's 10. And just trying to be fit and stay healthy. And there was another thing. Usually I'm playing national team the whole summer, so everything is kind of planned for me, and I just have to follow. I don't have any independency. I'm just there and doing my thing, right? But now I actually had to plan out my own preseason before the preseason. And especially with Love, the league where I'm heading to, they start late. They start in November. So as much as I appreciate the time that I have, it had also been some difficulty sometimes to organize yourself alone the whole time, especially if you're in a team sport. Usually it's like being 5-6 months on your own and kicking your own ass without anybody holding you accountable. Not always easy.
It's definitely tough. And then, those summer times, obviously I never thought about it. The national team players, you're always working out. You're always active. But like for those players that maybe play and then have the summer off, it's definitely a get away from you. Like a couple weeks and you start being like, wait, I feel a little different. I'm out of shape already. It's like it takes like this to lose it, which sucks. But I get what you're saying. The Philippines sounds dope though. I mean, that's a beautiful initiative. I think a lot of players probably would love to do some things like that, especially once you've played overseas or played abroad and you travel. You start to love that element. How did you guys make that happen? Like, was it an organization? How did that come about, having this group of volleyball individuals, players, to go to the Philippines and actually be able to do such an initiative?
So shout out to the head of the organization, Leslie. The organization that I joined is Let's Keep the Ball Flying. And he organized everything. It was like a tour that we made, because on one hand, we were there to bring something to the children and the communities over there. But the big picture also was we had a camera team with us, a video editor and all of that, to actually film each of the individuals once. And we had one big coach from America, John Castle, with us. And he was the main actor in like giving past his experience that he had from his big lifetime of being a coach on camera, to capture it, so that they want to create a toolkit for people, for coaches all over the world that have maybe a phone, and then they just need the access to the Google toolkit, and they can get everything from a really great coach who has, like I said, so much experience, but also from a strength coach, for instance, like how do you build a gym when you don't have anything besides nature? So what can you do? What equipment can you use from the nature to actually build something? And it was also great. And one day we did it, the one in charge prepared everything, and then we had a lunch break. And we could see the kids using the tools without her explaining anything. Because at the end, if it's there, they will use it, right? They just need a little bit of imagination and creativity to build something, and then they will use it. So the whole thing was to bring all of this knowledge together in a toolkit that they are currently working on and releasing, hopefully end of the year, let's see. But this is a bigger picture to make it even more accessible to everybody. So this was a big foundation of that. All of the athletes and everybody who joined pays it on their own. So we just do it because we want to do it. It's a non-profit organization. And then they are, for instance, they have some different actions like the 10%, 1%, so 1% tour that says they had 10 different athletes from 10 different countries, top athletes, who were able to donate 1% of their salary. And this came in a big part for them, for the organization that makes it possible to make these trips, to hire video editors and photographers and all of that. And it's crazy because if you think about 1%, like 1% of your salary doesn't seem a lot for you, but for them, it makes a huge difference. So that was an awesome thing that he did there. And I'm really grateful that he found all of that. He did it for women and for men. So that was great.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a beautiful initiative, and shout out to them for making that happen. It seems like in general, again, we haven't known each other very long. So, but of course I had to stalk you a little bit. It seems like you seem to be very mindful, and on your socials, kind of talk a lot about mindfulness, meditation, a little bit about liking your me time and all those things. Was there something that kind of spearheaded or triggered you into that type of space and exploring that part of yourself and getting into the regimen, or how did that kind of come into play for you? Because of course, you're 27. It's not old. It's still very young. But clearly you have a heart for giving back. You have a heart for trying to put family things first, which it takes some people a long time to figure out, like, this is the important stuff in life. So I guess what has kind of happened or in your life, or were you always like this, that led you into this type of space of really trying to grow in those areas?
I believe I had a certain way of trust in life since I can remember. Like, I always felt like everything happens for a reason, probably through the way my mom raised me as well. But through the experience in sport, it came more that I actually realized how important it is to be strong in your mind, because when you start with your journey, often they focus on volleyball drills, a lot of repetitions on the court, in the gym, like fitness, to go and work out, to make your body strong. But I realized as higher you play, as more pressure there is, and that's external, internal. I realized that I have a shift in how I approach practice, because I always started playing because I just enjoyed doing it. I loved what I did. And I was really, I don't know if we say it in English, but I was like this girl, like not naive, but like just doing it because I loved it. And I wasn't even thinking ahead. I had no idea that I can make money from it. I could play it professional. Like, seriously, when I grew up, I was only out with my horses all day long. Then one day my friend said, "Oh, you want to join a volleyball practice?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I started there and I was practicing 3 times a week. And all the other days I was out in nature. I never watched any volleyball. I still don't. But I was just, when I went to boarding school, because at 17, I decided to go to the boarding school because otherwise I would lose the gap of like being not professional. Even then, when I went there and make this big decision, I didn't think that I'm playing professional. I just saw an opportunity to play more what I love.
Yeah.
So I remember my coach was desperate with me because every time he was relating to some big player, I said, like, I have no idea who you're talking about. It's seriously, I don't know.
You're one of those players, Kimberly.
Yes, I am. Don't ask me about my schedule or game schedule for the next couple of months. I see it in the week that we have the practice schedule.
Yeah.
No, I'm bad in that. But so maybe this also triggered me a little bit because I was so fearless and joyful and like without any heavy feelings in the sport. If I see now some 15-year-old that are already in this pressure environment, probably I would have developed other mental skills in a different part. But like this, I got like pretty far because I loved what I did. But then since I was in the top league and top team, suddenly I saw that people wouldn't enjoy when we win a game, but close and not big enough points, and I was like,
Yeah.
but hey guys, we just won the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. At the end, we got the points. Everything is
Right.
fine. But no, it depends on how you win, and people see it different. You must win. You don't are able to win, but you have to win, and all this shifts because I'm really aware of communication. I think this just triggered me to go deeper into it, and then I developed the curiosity in this way, and it helped me to deal with all of that. And on my journey through my experience, I always wanted to try to learn from what I went through, like this nice grow through what you go through.
Yeah.
I really love that, because at the end of the day, I realized we all go through different parts in life and all different troubles. But if we can develop a toolkit that helps us to overcome this hurdle a little quicker, it's a easier way to live, right? And certain things I learned that makes life just a little easier. Things that I can't, like, don't focus too much on things that you can't control was a big lesson for me, because I wasted so much energy on things that I was like, but how can this person do this or that and not this, and can't see this? But at the end, I can't change this person, never, ever. Like, who am I to tell them how to behave? At the end, I can just control how I react on that. And this was like little lessons that helped me to become who I am today. And so my mission is also to pass this knowledge to the younger generation, because I was the first in my family who've been a professional athlete in volleyball. And so I learned everything on my own, through my own experience, through the bad ones, the good ones. But I would have loved to have somebody by my side maybe a little earlier who could guide me a little bit. At the end, you have to go through it alone, right? But if you have somebody on your side who can maybe give you the right direction to look at, it could help you a lot to overcome it also easier. So
For sure. For
yeah.
sure. I mean, the free spirited and not watching basketball, I'm gonna have to connect you with Tanara Moore. She's playing in Milan. She plays basketball, but you remind me of her with that, in that regard. Like, if you ever met somebody who's so good, MVP of a league, but it's like, I don't watch basketball. I don't really love it that much, but it is like, they have people that are
how far I came. Really, sometimes I don't know how I came here. But just because I think,
but
love what you do.
Yeah, but I think there's a testament to just really having that joy and that light and enjoying what you do, allowing you to be present. And so that is very beautiful. It's something that a lot of young players do need to know, because they start really early with so much pressure, and I don't know how they're gonna make it long if they start that pressure already.
That's what I see now.
Yet alone, we grown, and we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And at that age, to deal with that's a long, miserable journey. So I agree. So it's definitely good that you're putting that message out there. So you come from a small town, first one to go pro. Let's jump into you going pro. What does that look like for a young European talent that just out here having fun, not really understanding the business side? Like, what does that look like? Is it just going where the coaches tell you to go? Like, for your mom, what was her feelings? What was that situation like during that time for you?
Yeah, I think it started with a big decision to leave my small village with all my animals and my mom and go to the big city in Berlin, to the sports boarding school, where I was in a youth project that competed in the first league out of competition. Like, we played, but we couldn't go down or anything. It was just to get experience in this field. And even there, like I said, I was just doing my thing. I was enjoying the life and practicing every day. I was an annoying kid that was like, after practice, I was like, can we do some more balls? And all of the girls were like, Kimmy, come on, shut up. Because they were in the system already longer than I was, you know? So now I understand that when I have an off day, I will not go into the gym and say, hey, can I have more repetitions now?
Yeah.
Now I'm really appreciate my precious time
Right.
off the court. But back then, so I had this drive, and so I was in this youth project, and then I had to make a decision the first time when I finished my school. And there I had like a small circle. I mean, my mom, like I said, she couldn't really give me feedback on what's a good club or not, because she really didn't have any idea, because I was the first one. Back then I had a boyfriend who was professional volleyball player as well, and his family as well. So that helped me a lot. But at the end, it was more likely to go with my feelings, to be honest. And that always have led me to the right places so far. So yeah, but I was also not asking the same questions as I would do now. Like for my career, I was always following my feeling, doing my pro and cons, and then just go with it. I don't regret any of my decisions, and still sometimes there are questions that I should have asked and I didn't. But I see everything as like a learning, and as long as I don't repeat it, it's also not a mistake for me. So yeah, it's just been like this. I played in Germany after that for 6 years professional, I think. And yeah, and then I went to the big step to Italy, France, Turkey, and then half of the season to Serbia. So I've been around a little
Okay.
bit.
Got you. Okay, yeah. I mean, played in some of the ones I know of. I don't really know all the countries like for volleyball, but I know Turkey is one, and I know Italy is huge. That's a really
Yeah.
big one. And so, of course, we all say we won't regret. We wouldn't change it. I say it all the time as well. Wouldn't change anything. But there is still that element of like, well, if I had to change it, but okay, during that first initial phase of your career, what are some of those things that you learned that, of course, if someone had to walk in your shoes again, you would at least let them know, okay, don't go this way. Take a right here.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
stop for a second.
yeah, like go through another
Yeah.
challenge, because there's no
Yeah.
path that is not gonna have challenges. Even if
Sure.
someone tells you there's a rock here, dodge that rock. Well, then you're gonna learn a new rock
Yeah.
that person didn't go through, and that's life.
Mm.
So I guess if someone was following your same path at that early stage of when you first were now professional, you were elite. People
Mm.
wanted to either coach you, or someone said, I want to sign you, etc. What were
Mm.
some of the things that you say questions? What were some of those questions, or what were some of the decisions you felt you could have made a little differently?
I think probably I would go back to the moment when I left Germany and went to my first year abroad. So when I started playing, as I said, I had no idea. But then at one point I realized that, it's like you said, Turkey and Italy are the strongest leagues in Europe to play volleyball in. So I loved the vision of me playing in Italy one day. And when I got an offer of a top team in Italy, for me it was like, hell yeah, I'm going. It was always been my dream. I knew I would not go in a position where I would be a starting player, but I said, okay, wait, that's even better. I can go and adapt to the environment. I can learn from the best, and then I develop there, and I can play in my head. And my agent had was like, okay, if I do good there, I can be like a starting player in a lower team maybe the year after, or develop in this club to be a starter one day. Who knows? At the end, nobody knows. It's just visions that we have, right? But I don't know if I would do this step at this moment again, because yes, it's always been my dream and I felt like it's right there. It would be stupid of me to say no now. Who knows if it comes again? But it's a little fear-based mentality. And if I would have trusted myself enough and had a person next to my side who would have asked me the right questions, maybe if I wasn't able to in this moment because I still was young and I had no idea, maybe this person would have asked me like, what exactly is your dream? Do you want to be a starting player one day in Italy? And if so, what do you think are the steps that you have to take to reach this? Because maybe I would have gone to a lower club and play there to start low, but then work my way up instead of being up and go down, you know, to just learn on my own first, because there were certain challenges mental also that I wasn't prepared yet. So I had a difficult season in Italy because at one point I was a second opposite, but the first opposite got injured. And then I was doing the whole time great. And I was like, I love the decision. I made everything fine. And then from one moment to the other, everything shifted and I had to play. What I was wishing for, right? I mean, I'm on the bench. I always want to play, but then it felt like I have to play. There's no other option. That's the only reason, right? And I hated this feeling. So I was like, I don't deserve this right now. Like, I'm just a second option. I mean, of course I'm the second option, but you know, in my head, I had so much pressure. Then this club had so much pressure because they didn't win anything yet. So this club and the coach, all of them had pressure. And then I wasn't, in this moment, I wasn't able to handle it, because I didn't have the right tools yet to overcome this challenge.
Right.
So I failed. In this moment, I failed. And I couldn't bring the performance that I wished that I already showed before, that I was able to, but I was so blocked from my mental skills that I wasn't able to perform anymore. And then they switched with another position. That was one of my toughest moments. If another position takes over to your position, it was a really tough thing to deal with. And it's like I said, I don't regret it, because I mean, at the end, I really realized that I need to make decisions in a better way and to have to prepare myself better, because I want to be a player who's always able to play regardless of the reasons. It shouldn't influence me the way it did. So I think, one thing that I would say is ask the right questions and don't see the big picture sometimes and break it down in small things. And maybe it's, like I said, against the grain sometimes to come actually to the goal that you have, and don't follow something that maybe externally makes more sense, or people say, of course you go to the biggest club if they ask you, but maybe it doesn't fit to your journey, to your way that you want to go through. I think there are always certain things that you should consider before you make a big decision.
Yeah, I think that's you're very wise, Kim. You're very wise. I mean, for real, it's a very good point that, most times we say physically the person isn't ready. Okay, you're too young. Clearly, strength wise, that's a normal one. You can't play yet, but the next one is say, okay, your skills. You got to get your skills better. Or if you go to a top team and they know they're bringing you there to develop you, that's another thing as well. But then the part of mentally being prepared, I think I've never really, we all know we're supposed to work on our mental, but I don't think anyone has really talked about the emotional and mental preparation to be able to insert yourself into these types of environments at another step in a higher level. So that is very, that's true, that you could also be ready physically.
Yeah.
And then you're just mentally not there yet. You're still not there. And I think many players go through it. And it's like you say, it's not a failure. It's a learning. It's a lesson that turns into an unknown blessing, as I say. Lessons equal blessings, and so you learn from it. And I think the other thing is the importance of getting with your representation to build a plan. That's the other thing I heard, is that maybe it was more so go to this team, of course you go, and not really saying, okay, let's evaluate what's the plan.
Yeah, your individual plan, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you. what was the first contract you ever signed? Was it when you first started with Germany, or did you have an agent when you first started playing in Germany, or did you just kind of go
No,
direct to the teams?
I went directly. So the youth program, you don't sign anything. So I believe the first contract I signed, and I had no idea what I was signing. Uh, seriously, I had no idea. Was for one club that I played with in the last year of my school. There was already a pro league, pro team, and I did it with like, I don't even remember, to be honest, but I think the coaches helped me a little bit, but I just kind of went with the flow because everybody did it before me, so I just do it as well. I get a little
Yeah.
bit money, like a handful or whatever. I just wanted to play. And then it started to be more serious. So when I finished school and I had to choose for my first pro team on my own, I think in this year I had one agent who was she just started to be an agent, and she helped me like a little like a consultant. But I didn't really had her as an agent, like any contract that I signed or anything. She was just there for me to help me. And then I already faced my first difficulty because I played and performed in this season pretty good, and the top team of the league wanted to get me out of my contract because I had signed for 2 years, but after the first year they already wanted to have me. And there I realized the first time that I need help because I don't have any idea how it works. So she helped me through the process, but also she realized that it's beyond her skills. And so, yeah, it was up and down, but we finally made it, and I signed with the other team. But then for this 1.5 years, I didn't have a really agent by my side. Even when I continued with them for a second year, I just signed what I had, and I was checking up. Maybe that's something we can talk about later, because when I had a contract, I was just checking, do I get an apartment? Do I get a car? How much money do I get? That's it. Sounds good to me. Everything sounds good to me because I didn't even thought about getting money from it, like I told you initially. So I didn't even compare with anybody else. I was just like, whatever I get is fine.
Yeah.
Easy for the teams to get me.
Yes.
I made that really easy for them.
They were like, she's lovely.
Yes,
Kimberly, why wouldn't you hire her? Like, I mean, no complaints.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's yeah, pretty picture painting the picture pretty well. So yeah, they said, like people say in Germany, as a German player, you don't need an agent. Because then you just have to share the money with him, right, or them. So everything in Germany you can just handle on your own. Easier said than done, because as I said, I was the first in my family. I had no idea, and I don't even now that I know more about it, I don't really know what do I have to check. I have an idea of what, but I never learned it. I didn't have all the experience. I can just ask to other people and maybe compare different contracts, but this is not so common. Like I didn't ask for anybody to see their contract, especially in Germany. We don't really talk about money. It's like everything. I think also in female sports and it's even bigger, this like discreet, and you don't talk about it. You just do your thing, and everything is so strict, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really have an agent, but then to go abroad, to go to Italy, I started with an agency that helped me to get this contract, and I worked for them for the last couple of years. So yeah, and I had my agent.
Yeah, and see, and the thing is, the wording. You say you worked with them. What went into making the decision? So how did you choose your first major agency? How did you go about that? Or what did that look like for you? So maybe you didn't even really choose. Maybe something happened and you're like, okay, cool. You know,
Yeah.
true, going with the flow, Kimberly style.
Yeah, you get it now. Yeah.
So yeah, what did that look like for you?
So when I started to play also good in the top team in Germany, agents wrote me on like social media or anything, like just to reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing and if I have an agent already. So I had no idea what I should ask or like what I actually should think about when I hire an agent or an agency. But I knew I have goals to be one of the top players. I want to see how far I can come, what level I can reach. And so for me, when I chose my first agency, I went with the agency that was the biggest, who had the biggest name, because they had the biggest players. So I thought if they have the biggest players, they should do something right. And I can follow their footsteps and becoming also one of their big players. So that's basically it, why I chose my first agency. I didn't ask about their vision, about their way of communication, their way of working with the athletes, what they can provide besides doing the contract, the offers. I didn't ask these questions when I was younger. And for a long time, it worked out for me because they got offers in, they made my contracts, and I was happy with the things that I had. Sometimes I had some difficulties, not major ones, little ones, where I was like, okay, whatever, just I can deal with it. But I wouldn't, this is another thing that I would have done maybe differently. Not to say that the work they did was bad, I realized that your agent is representing your partner in your career. I mean, they play such a huge role in your career. That's crazy. And I wasn't aware of the importance of this partner next to your side. I mean, at the end, they should be your partner. You should be equal. That's another thing. I think these days, sometimes the level shifts a little bit because for me, what I realized the biggest value is transparency. And I heard not only from me, but also like from friends and other athletes that I'm talking more often about it. I hear stories that I'm like shocked about how agents work with athletes and see them more as like objects and don't tell them about different offers that they got. And they have like their own plan for this athlete, but didn't really ask the athlete what is their plan, their individual plan. Again, maybe they don't want to go. Maybe at the beginning, Kimberly wanted to go to a top team, but maybe now, as I said, my preferences in life shifted. So maybe I want to be closer to my family, and that's more important to me. So the value is not money anymore, maybe, but more on being present and close to family, and all of these different things. I think are just so important to choose an agency or an agent that fits your goal and your way of handling your career. And that's why I also I split ways with the agency I've been with, to take a moment and to actually reflect on what I want to have in my career. I wanted to step a way back to actually write down, like, what do I want? What are my goals in my career? Is this agency still able to help me on what I want to achieve? Do they actually have the same values than I have? For instance, also, I think you hear different things. People maybe want to have a friend and an agent who supports them no matter what, and to be there supportive in a positive way, just like their woohoo person, like, you're doing it, you got it, keep going. Other people maybe just want to have an agent who do their offer, that's it, they do their contract, we don't need any further contact, that's it. Or people want to have an agent who's there for them and pushes them sometimes, even though you don't want to be pushed in this moment, but actually you want to grow. So maybe it's a person who holds you, an agent who holds you accountable, who watches your game and actually gives you critical feedback, not just, oh, you played amazing, great, but maybe, hey, what about your approach? Maybe somebody who understands the game and can be there for you in this matter. But that's, of course, everybody is different in this way. So I wanted to give myself time to actually think about what I want and choose the right agent in this way. And also realizing that there are big difference in different contracts. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the agency piece, you have big agencies, boutique, and kind of figuring out what works best for you. But again, like you said, it starts with you, to really figure out what works, and sometimes you make a decision that really works best for you, even though there might be some pro cons. I know for myself, there are people and other agents that have, tried to say, oh, you should come here. But it's like, okay, what do I want? And am I willing to lose these two elements because I value this more with this relationship and that particular representation? And I think it's not easy, but in this day and age of the business, the agency piece is huge and it's important. You said you didn't understand the difference in contracts. Quickly, what didn't you understand the difference in contracts?
So for me, since I didn't really compare my contracts with other athletes, I was just used to the way that I had my contracts, right? But I just realized that there are so many different types in way of, like, for instance, what they ask for if you as an athlete or a person come in trouble. Like, what happened? Everything went well, everything is fine. But what happened if? And I mean, so many times in sport, in your career, teams screwed. Something happened, political wise, economic, whatever, and then difficulties come and approach, and then it's on your contract, because everybody will rely on your contract. If you are in a tough position, they will see, okay, what did we write down? What did we agree on beforehand? And I just realized that sometimes there are more beneficial things in a contract for the athlete than for the clubs, even though it's harder for the agent to get it through, because of course everybody is acting in their own interest, right? So the
Right.
club tries to have their interest in mind and the athlete theirs, and the agent has to balance it out. But at the end of the day, I would always prefer somebody who's really there for you as an athlete over the club. But these days, stories that I hear, I don't really support this theory that I thought is norm. Well, should be like that, because you hire that agent and you are working with the agent, not the agent with the club. You think so, but I hear stories that I'm mind bloated. And so, yeah, I think at the end of the day, the contract is so important, because, yeah, you should have a good relationship with your agent or not. But at the end of the day, what is written in the contract matters the most,
Yeah.
because this is what you sign up for, and this is going to protect you in difficult moments. So I just realized now that there are different kinds of contracts, and sometimes we as athletes don't even know what rights we have,
Yeah. No, I
because it's
mean,
not talking about rough.
yeah, it's definitely, we need more transparency. We need more
Yeah.
communication. We need more safe spaces to talk about it openly and not on recordings. So we'll work to get there.
Yeah.
But for sure, it's tough, and the agent business is. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to to really understand how they work for us, but also work for the team. Is still a very confusing dynamic for me. But yes, some of the
Yes.
stories are ridiculous. Um, However, you made it. You did it joyfully, even though you didn't know what was going on at times. So it's like
Yeah.
blessings to you, and I guess the prayers of your mother for
Yeah.
keeping you covered. But now you are gonna go on a new journey, and you're gonna go. This is your first time in America.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're gonna
not
do.
you've traveled to America, or this is your first time in America.
I've been with the national team for 1 week in Lincoln for a national team tournament, Nations League. Well, that's it. I wouldn't say that I had, like, collected some experience there, because I just know the hotel room and the gym. That's
Okay,
it.
got
So
you.
yeah,
Okay, so you doing like a rookie overseas moment.
yes,
All right, and how you feeling about that?
I am so excited. I'm really excited about this chance, because also it's not just that it's first time for me, but first time for this league to start. They just opened. They didn't exist before. So they are planning on this since 2019. So there are really big visions behind this league. And I'm just so thankful that I'm be able to be part of it, to be one of the first, and hopefully one like this league will rest for a long time. So let's least for a long time. So I'm really excited for that. And also just to experience the culture there, and the national team, women national team is so strong. They have so independent, strong characters on the court, and I just can't wait to see where it comes from and who they got formed them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that experience. And also the fan culture. I go to Omaha, Nebraska to be there. And just Nebraska, they had like a huge record. 92,000 fans,
Wow.
spectators came to one game, like a college game, if I'm not mistaken. So it was huge. The fan culture is amazing there. So I'm looking forward to that because I love to connect with people, as you know now. And so I'm really excited to see the side of the volleyball there too. And the
Okay.
standard that they have, I heard that the gyms are just crazy. And so I love to work out, so I'm excited to experience this as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And then if you're in Nebraska, then you have some horses nearby when you need some nature time or something.
Yes,
For
exactly.
sure.
Yes, when I signed, I didn't sign for the location. I signed for the whole league, and they actually put me there. So I think, okay, they
Oh,
saw the
okay.
village girl in
Yeah,
me. So
yeah. They were
like, she
okay.
will be good there.
All
Don't put her in
right,
a
all
big
right.
city. She will get lost.
Yeah. I think they did some research then. Look at them
Yeah,
doing something different. Shout out to the league.
yeah.
Um okay, that's I mean, hey, I have to definitely follow you and
Yes,
wish you best of
please.
luck.
Thank
Before
you.
we get out of here, because I've kept you, we coming on the hour. Um I'll obviously share where people can follow you, but before we exit this, is there anything you want to share with the athlete community? Most of our listeners are kind of athletes. We don't really target the fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to share with the athlete community, current and former? Of course, we always have some former players come on as well that are now agents, or former players that are investors, etc. But is there
Mm.
anything you kind of want to share with the athlete community before we get off the unguarded stage?
I just want to give a shout out to you for a second because I'm really impressed by what you're doing and that you're really trying to build this community to go against the grain and just build something new for the next generation to also probably go and face a lot of hurdles because yeah, you will need to fight against a lot of people because it's just different. But I just love your approach, and I think it's something so valuable for the future because I agree that we need to talk more openly about these things, about salary, about contracts, about your athletes' rights, to make it fair. To make it
Yeah,
fair, like I said, like the agent and athlete should be a partner. It should be a partnership, and there shouldn't be any disbalances in this. And at the end of the day, it's your career, it's your life. I mean, everybody of us who's in this sports, we sacrifice so much, so you should make the best out of it. And to make the best out of it, you need all the informations and everything to choose in the right direction. So shout out to you that you want to make this possible for everybody.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. And then to all the other athletes out there, I just love to connect and to build a community abroad of the sport, like basketball, volleyball, tennis, whatever is out there. It would be amazing if we can share things together because at the end, I think we are facing the same struggles in different ways, but at the end, we can help and elevate each other through sharing it because I feel like also not only we don't talk a lot about agents and contracts and money, but also about our mental hurdles. We feel like, okay, it is something I have to go through alone. I'm strong enough. I don't need anybody else, at least what I heard so far. So
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful if we have the courage to be vulnerable and share this with the world. So to build a stronger community together and making the best out of it.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate getting my flowers because it's definitely going to be a journey, and
Thank you.
will continue to get better at not only the application but also just try to do better at building community. Um, And yeah, I think, definitely congrats to you. I'm gonna say shout out to your mom because she did a good job, having the second conversation with you.
Mm.
So I'm really wishing you the best in the league, wishing you the best to enjoy the States in general and have
Thank
fun
you.
with it and being a part of something groundbreaking. I know I went to IU. We had some very good volleyball players, but during those times they didn't have a pro league, and I know it was still very hard to go
Yeah.
overseas even. So I think this is wonderful for all the volleyball players, and I'm sure some of them are kind of bittersweet that they finally
Yes.
see it coming, but now they've
Yes.
retired with babies and they're like, oh, now it's happening. But
they can come back.
there's I don't know. Okay, that's tough. That's tough.
I
So
know, but in the league they're actually like 3 months or so, maybe more.
wow.
So they're
Okay.
supporting all of that. So they should. You can tell them.
Okay, all right. So I'm excited as
Door
well
open.
to see how this is gonna go. But I'm sure the stories and
Yeah.
everything gonna be great. But um, thank you again, Kimberly. I appreciate the time
Thank
coming on
you.
the Unguarded podcast for me. And yeah, until next time.
Yes. Have a good day.
I guess I gotta do it on myself.